Years of Silence, the Rachel Russell Mystery. Welcome to Ontario Cold Cases, Canada's True Crime Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Nickel of Nickel Investigations, and today we're stepping into the haunting story of Rachel Russell, a vibrant woman whose life was tragically cut short, leaving behind an unsolved mystery that still echoes through the small town of Cobourg, Ontario. Rachel's story is one of resilience, spirit, and struggle. It's a tale that begins with a lively childhood and ends in a heartbreaking mystery that her family and community are still fighting to resolve. In this episode, we'll explore her early life, the challenges she faced, and the circumstances of her untimely death. So settle in as we uncover the details of this enduring cold case. Ontario Cold Cases, Canada's True Crime Podcast. It's a gripping true crime podcast uncovering unsolved murders, disappearances, and forgotten crimes from Ontario and beyond. Told with deep research, compelling storytelling, and a voice for the victims. Join us today, where every clue could lead to answers, and every case deserves a second look. Segment 1. Early Life and Background. Rachel Russell was born in Cobourg, Ontario, Canada. The parents, Daniel and Alva Russell, was part of a family of Mi'kmaq heritage. The family later moved to Port Hope, where Rachel grew up with her siblings, Robbie, Shelley, Cindy, and Tracy. Described as outgoing, bubbly, and full of life, Rachel was known for her ability to get along with anyone, earning her the description of a chameleon from her sister Shelley. At 13, she hitchhiked to Woodstock 99, showcasing her adventurous spirit. Rachel became a single mother, raising a 4-year-old son at the time of her death, was separated but still close with her husband. Her later years were marked by significant health challenges, including a diagnosis of bowel cancer and a burst appendix, which led to surgery and subsequent addiction to OxyContin. She sought rehabilitation for her addiction, working as a dog groomer and previously at the Humane Society, reflecting her efforts to stabilize her life despite these struggles. From the start, Rachel was someone who lit up a room. Growing up in Port Hope, a small town just east of Cobourg, she was the kind of person who could strike up a conversation with anyone, friend or stranger, and leave them smiling. That nickname, Chameleon, says it all. Rachel had a gift for adapting, for finding her place in any crowd. And that adventurous streak? Picture this, a 13-year-old Rachel, fearless and determined, thumbing her way to Woodstock 99, a massive music festival that drew hundreds of thousands. It's the kind of story that makes you grin at her boldness, even as it hints at the risks she was willing to take. But life wasn't always kind to Rachel. By her late 20s, she was raising a little boy of her own, a 4-year-old who was the center of her world. She separated from her husband, but they stayed close, a testament to the bond she nurtured even through tough times. Then came the health battles, bowel cancer, a burst appendix, emergency surgery. Pain became a constant companion, and with it, the prescription for OxyContin. What started as relief spiraled into addiction, a struggle that Rachel fought hard to overcome. She checked into rehab, determined to reclaim her life, found solace in working with animals. As a dog groomer and a former employee of the Humane Society, she channeled her compassion into something positive, something steady. Rachel's early life and background paint a picture of a woman who faced more than her share of challenges, but never lost her spark, until that spark was extinguished far too soon. In our next segment, we'll step into the chilling details of her murder and the discovery that rocked Cobourg. Stay with us. Segment 2. Circumstances of the murder. On November 12, 2007, the quiet rhythm of Cobourg, Ontario was shattered. A passerby walking near the railway tracks between Ontario and Division Streets stumbled upon a grim sight: the body of Rachel Russell. This wasn't a secluded spot. It was a well-trodden path, a shortcut for locals. But it was also a place with a shadowy side, known for drug activity, where users and dealers crossed paths in the night. The scene was sobering. Rachel had suffered blunt force trauma, a violent end that stood in stark contrast to the vibrant life she'd lived. An autopsy confirmed this as the cause of death, and police estimated she'd been killed weeks earlier, in mid to late October 2007. For weeks her body lay there, unnoticed, a haunting thought that lingers in the mind. For Rachel's family, the discovery was just the beginning of their pain. Her sister Shelley stepped forward to identify her, recognizing the tattoos that marked Rachel's skin. It was a moment of unbearable clarity, turning his sister's memory of a bubbly chameleon into a permanent mark of loss. The location of Rachel's body raised questions from the start. Was she targeted in this drug-riddled area because of her own struggles with addiction? Or was it a chance encounter that turned deadly? In our next segment, we'll follow the investigation that tried to answer those questions, and the arrest that promised justice, only to see it slip away. Stay tuned. Segment 3. Initial Investigation and Arrest. The Ontario Provincial Police, or OPP, didn't waste time. As soon as Rachel's body was found, they launched an investigation, combing the area for clues. They executed a search warrant on a nearby home, hoping to tie the crime to someone in the vicinity. But the search came up empty. No murder weapon, no DNA, no clear link to a suspect. Still, the OPP pressed on. For nearly a year, they chased leads, interviewed witnesses, and pieced together Rachel's final days. Then in October 2008, a break. Wayne Ryman, a 44-year-old Cobourg resident, was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. Court appearances followed, and for Rachel's family, must have felt like a step toward closure. But justice proved elusive. On April 24, 2009, the Crown dropped a bombshell. They were withdrawing the charges against Ryman. The reason? No reasonable prospect of conviction. Ryman's defense lawyer, Howard Goldkind, didn't hold back, calling out the toll of a wrongful accusation of his client, a man who'd spent months under the weight of a murder he insisted he didn't commit. Ryman walked free, and later reports confirmed he'd been ruled out as a suspect. The case stalled, leaving investigators back at square one. What went wrong? Was the evidence too thin, or did the trail simply grow cold? In our next segment, we'll look at the ongoing efforts to crack this case, and the family refuses to let Rachel be forgotten. Keep listening. Segment 4. Ongoing investigation and family efforts. Even after the charges against Wayne Ryman were dropped, the OPP never closed the book on Rachel's case. They've insisted it's not a cold case, it's active, alive with the possibility of new leads. Over the years, they've interviewed hundreds of people, following every tip that comes their way. In 2020, Acting Detective Sergeant Dan Peters highlighted a key tool: a $50,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction. That reward has sparked public tips, and it's still on the table today. If you know something, anything about Rachel's case, the OPP wants to hear from you. You can reach the Criminal Investigation Branch at 1-888-310-1122 or 705-329-0700. 6111. The Cobourg Detachment at 905-372-5421, or Crime Stoppers anonymously at 1-800-222-8477. One call could change everything. Meanwhile, Rachel's family is being a force of their own. They've held fundraisers like one marking the 10th anniversary of her death in 2017 to keep her name alive and the pressure on. But it's not easy. 2020, Shelley Russell shared the family's weary resolve. 13 years later, we've accepted that it is what it is. Yet they hold on to hope, fueled by a belief that Rachel likely knew her killer. Her outgoing nature, ties to the drug scene where she was found, could her outspokenness have made her a target. The family's fight isn't just for answers, it's for Rachel's legacy. In our final segment, we'll explore how her case connects to a bigger story and what it means for her community today. Stay with us. Segment 5. Broader Context and Legacy. Rachel's murder isn't just a Cobourg story. It's part of a national tragedy. In 2017, her case was included in the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls, a probe into the systematic violence that disproportionately claims Indigenous lives. As a Mi'kmaq woman, Rachel's death underscores a painful pattern. Her family hoped the inquiry would bring fresh eyes and resources to her case. That hope has fueled their outreach. Partnering with outlets like Global News and Northumberland News, they've kept Rachel's story in the spotlight, with annual updates and pleas for tips. It's a mission to ensure she's more than a statistic. She's a daughter, a mother, a sister whose absence is felt every day. In Cobourg, the ripples of Rachel's loss linger. A town known for its charm became a place marked by an unsolved crime, a reminder of the fragility beneath its surface. The OPP, the family, the community, they're all still searching, still holding out for the day when justice names Rachel's killer. As we wrap up, that $50,000 reward stands as a call to action. If you got a piece of this puzzle, come forward. Help bring peace to a family that's waited too long. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Rachel Russell's story. If you have information, contact the OPP at 1-888-310-1122, the Cobourg Detachment at 905-372-5421, or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. Till next time, stay safe, stay vigilant, and keep listening, because every case deserves answers, and every victim deserves justice. Subscribe now to Ontario Cold Cases, Canada's True Crime Podcast. Episodes available wherever you get your podcasts.